We're going to take a look at how to multiply decimals by the power of 10. Before we take a look at some practice problems of multiplying by the power of 10, I want to remind you of a few things, okay? This word power, what it means, okay? That's another word for exponent. I hope you can remember a little bit about exponents. Here I've written 2 to the second power. That's how that's read, and that's where the word power comes from. 10 to the second power. Okay? If you remember about exponents, what 10 to the second power really is 10 times 10. It's 10 2 times. 10 times 10. 10 to the second power equals 100. Okay? 10 times 10 is 100. You could also add 10 to the power of 3. That would look like 10 times 10 times 10, 10 3 times, which would equal 1,000. Okay. Again, one more thing before I get to the practice problems. Whenever you're multiplying numbers by 10, something kind of special happens. If I do let's just start with 2 times 10. Okay? When you multiply the number 2 by 10, I want you to think about what happens, what your answer looks like. 2 times 10 equals 20. Okay? Nothing changed with that 2 there. It's still in your answer, but a 0 has been added. 2 times 10 is 20. Same thing happens so if you had the number 240 and you wanted to multiply it by 10. Okay? You're still going to have your 240, but there's going to be an additional 0 on your answer there, 2,400. Okay, I want you to keep that in mind as we take a look at multiplying decimals by the power of 10. Let me pull up our first practice problem. Okay, question 1. Jim's calculator showed 3 7/10 times 10 to the third power as the answer to his problem, which is equivalent to 3 7/10 times 10 to the third power. Now this is going to look like similar to a problem you'll find on the benchmark on Friday, because again this comes from the same source. These are SchoolNet practice questions, so hopefully the way this problem is worded you'll see something similar to it. Okay, Jim's calculator, and I'm going to write this down on the Smart Notebook. That was 3 7/10 times 10 to the third power. Before we even address that decimal at all, because I'm sure you're looking at this like, holy cow, Miss Roach, we haven't multiplied decimals yet. I'm not really sure how to do that. Okay? Before you freak out, I want you to first just think about this 10 right here, 10 to the third power. Okay? Like our exponent, I'm going to go ahead and write that out as 10 times 10 times 10. That's what that is. Okay? 10 to the third power is not 30. You know it's not 30 because you're not adding the 10s, you're multiplying them. 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. You got 3 zeros there. You've got 3 zeros in your answer. 1,000. Okay? I'm going to rewrite that now because now we have 3 7/10 times 1,000. Not so intimidating. You still have that decimal there, but we got rid of the exponent. It looks a little easier for us to work with now. Okay. The cool thing about multiplying decimals by powers of 10, and it could work with any power 10, that's why we're going to look at more than one example, is that all you have to do is move the decimal around. Okay. This 3 7/10, we're still going to use the number 3 and we're still going to use the number 7 in our answer, but you're going to see how this decimal will move. Let me give us a clean space times 1,000. Okay. Oh, pardon me, that was 3.7, not 0.2. Okay. 3 7/10 times 1,000. I'm going to rewrite that 3 7/10, and I want you to watch carefully as to what happens. There are 3 zeros here. 3 zeros in the 1,000 when I'm multiplying by. I'm going to take this decimal here and I'm going to move it to the right 3 places. 1, 2, 3. There's my decimal. And I'm going to erase it from its original position. My decimal is now here, okay? I have to fill in these empty spaces with, what do you think? Zeros. Just like when you're multiplying a number by 10, you're adding a 0 onto that number. We multiplied by 1,000, so I moved the digits 3 places. The place value 3 places, okay? My decimal went from between the 3 and the 7 to the end. Now I've got 3,700. Let's look one more example because I know the first time is pretty confusing. Next question. Okay, what is 1 2/10 divided by 10 to the third power? What is 1 2/10 times 10 to the third power divided by 4/10 times 10 to the second power? Ooh, multi-step problems. I don't know if I can handle that, but I bet with your help I can. Okay, let's see. 1 2/10 times 10 to the third power divided by 4/10 times 10 to the second power. Okay, I'm going to put some parentheses in here like I'm doing order of operations because I want to do one piece at a time and then I'll divide those numbers. First, with my 1 2/10 times 10 to the third power, real quick, you could tell me 10 to the third power. Oh, Miss Roach, that's 1,000. Of course it is. Now I'm left with 1 2/10 times 1,000. What we just said with our last problem, I've got 3 zeros that I'm multiplying. I'm going to move my decimal 3 places to the right. My decimal is here at the 1.2. I'm going to move it 3 places real quick. 1, 2, 3. There's my decimal. I'm going to fill in those empty spots with zeros. Now I have 1,200. There we go. That was easy. 10 to the second power. That's 10 times 10. 100. Times 4/10. I've got 2 zeros here, so what do you think? Instead of moving my decimal 3 places, I'm only going to move it 2 places. 4/10. 1, 2. Fill in the blank with the 0. I've got the number 40. Now I need to divide these two numbers that I got from my parentheses. 1,200 divided by 40. Okay. 40 will not go into 1. 40 will not go into 12. 40 will go into 120. 3 times. 3 times 40, 120. I've got nothing there. I need to carry my 0 up. My answer is 30. Okay, this video tutorial is on multiplying decimals by the power of 10. I'm not going to spend too much time with that division there. One last example. What is 4 7/10 times 10 to the fourth power written in standard form? Well, standard form, you can see the answer choices. Standard form is when you just have the number, okay? Before we know what number it is, we actually need to multiply it so I can figure out exactly where that decimal belongs. So 4 7/10 times 10 to the fourth power. Okay, starting out, I'm going to change my exponent, or solve my exponent here. I've got 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. That was 10 4 times. Let me write that out for you. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. I've got how many zeros there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10,000 times 4 to the 4 7/10 times 10,000. Okay, how many zeros do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. I count the zeros to know what or how many places I'm moving the decimal. Again, how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how many places to the right I'm going to move the decimal. I'm going to get that 4.7 right here, and here I am. I'm going to move the decimal 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my decimal. I'm going to fill in those blanks with zeros. 0, 0, 0. That leaves me with 47,000. So let's go back and find that answer choice written in standard form. Double check that it's there. 47,000, answer choice C. Please, I encourage you to watch and rewatch this video. We were supposed to be practicing this content in class today, but with the icy weather and we're not in school, we're going to have to really work hard tomorrow in order to be prepared and ready for the test on Friday. I have faith in you guys, and I know you'll do great. Bye.